Welcome everybody to Campaign Diaries. This is kind of our supplemental kind of show to our Sandsea Saga D&D campaign, brought to you here on the Delta Cryptid channel. We have the whole crew and then some. We've got, let's start with Ollie.
Well, hello, I'm Ollie. Raul Alejandro Gonzalez Enriquez, but you can call me Ollie. I play Lycus D. Stratus.
I'm going to give inspiration to anybody who can say that 3 times fast. That's not Ollie.
What, Lycus D. Stratus?
Lycus D. Stratus, Lycus D. Stratus.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nan?
Hi, I'm Nans, also known as Hannah, also known as Pimenia Knackle, the gnome bard of the Sandsea Saga crew. What up?
What happened?
When did Pim become a gangster?
You know,
I thought you were more classic, but there's some hip hop.
One gang sign.
Whoa,
it's a Friday night, y'all.
And wow, way to just let everybody know how lame we are. Nigel.
That's how I do.
Soy Nigel. Play Nunazra, High Elf, strongest wizard ever. That's about it for me. Yeah.
I feel like that's a challenge. Button.
Hello, my name is Button. I'm Blue Button on social media. I play Cress, the Sea Elf Druid. They, them pronouns for both of us.
And I feel like we really need a drum roll. If we can put in sound effects, and put a drum roll here.
You got it.
JJ.
Hey, I'm JJ, Meister Hypester on all the social medias, and I play Granny Mel, who's having a lovely picnic with the tentacles. It's a great time.
Picnic with the tentacles.
Yeah.
That's a thinker.
We're making
That's an episode title. That's what that is.
No.
Okay. So what were we talking about before we started recording? Because that was a really interesting conversation.
We're talking
about post-apocalyptic
post-apocalyptic stuff, post-apocalyptic literature. So actually, that is a pretty decent segue, because I was so one of the things I'm wondering about for this upcoming session is, we know our heroes are heading into the jungle, right? So you guys are going to go do some exploring, right? And it's post-apocalyptic exploring, right? What are some of the ways that you guys find, exploration can kind of be interesting? Like what are some of the things we can do that'll make exploration really interesting? Because I think it's like, in terms of the trifecta pillars of D&D, this is the holy grail. RP is one thing, combat's one thing. It's equal, but I think exploration is the pillar that is toughest.
Can I just one quick side note? We are missing one of our players.
Yeah, you said everyone was here.
Yeah,
just
Max
so that we don't
make
Eleanor feel bad.
Sorry, Max.
He's our main damage source. Without him, I don't know. For now.
Also, our primary moral compass.
Heart healer.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's debatable.
I mean, is it?
So long as the morality falls within his religion.
True.
Exactly. Lycus is a neutrally moral person.
Subjectiveness of morality. Let us discuss.
I really feel like I want to check Lycus's character sheet, which, by the way, for you guys, everybody here, definitely pull up your character sheets, because as we kind of talk about stuff, if we get brushed up against any lore stuff, especially when it's stuff that we can kind of agree your character might know, I will ask you to roll for it, and we can talk about what you'll know.
How exciting.
Okay, so you're asking
potential lore drop.
Yeah, you're asking the question of, is it, how do we define exploration, or what do we enjoy about exploration?
Yeah, what do you enjoy about it? Because, like I said, I think it's hard to do, especially over online. Especially considering kind of the situation. You guys are kind of going out, you know what you're kind of looking for. There's a couple of things you're kind of looking for, and it's not like you have a map at the moment, right? So you are basically going to it's going to kind of come down to checks, right? But how do you make exploration kind of interesting without it just being like, ooh, let's just add combat to it? Or social encounter. Yes, please.
I have two answers. The two things
answers
that I like most about exploration. Thing one, finding what you were looking for. Thing two, unearth secrets. The former advances the story, which is very important. The latter advances understanding of the world, which is arguably even more important. And I love both those things. I think that one of the dangers of exploration is when it becomes so enmeshed that if you end up having like 3 or 4 sessions of purely exploration without advancement of plot, then players can start to feel admired and like they aren't making any sort of progress that matters. Yeah. So it's a balancing act of like, how do you make progress happen? And how do you keep roleplay and combat intact? All of these things really have to be functioning like a hamster wheel. You should be hitting every single rung, every single session.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Can I add something on to what Button was saying here?
Absolutely not.
The original.
All right.
We weren't both supposed to go in on it.
I was gonna too, actually, but I was like, someone else has this covered.
Ollie, please go. We will all just sit here and think about what we did.
Perfect. So, with what Button was saying, like the first part at least of the thing that makes exploration partially fun is finding the thing you need to find. I think that another part that makes that interesting is setting that goal and expectation and allowing you to have a specific obstacle. Like, here, you found the thing. Now, what are you willing to do to get that thing? Not just finding it, but getting it. Making it
I got you.
a challenge.
I got you. I like that. That's good to keep in mind for sure. You know, because I think the interesting element of exploration is that there's unknown, right? So when you find the thing, there's definitely, you know, obviously, yes, the finding of the thing, the discovery, right? The purpose of the exploration, but having that twist on it, you know, that's like, okay, now we're here. Here's the next conflict. Here's the next encounter about just the getting of that thing.
I love this. I just wanted to jump off and say you're absolutely right, both of you. I love how boring would it be to go looking for Flintlock's crew and then find them walking back to camp? Like, obviously, that's not the
that really is
here.
Like just deflates everything.
They're clearly in some variety of trouble. I'm excited to see what the trouble or situation is.
Guys, give me 2 seconds. I just gotta go rewrite something. Okay.
How funny would it be if we just do find them? Just walking
back.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, wait.
That's how Granny comes back to camp.
Yeah, Granny's with them too.
Hey.
We're all good.
Walking back to
That's
camp.
finding you. She's at our picnic with the tentacles that we just walked on.
Oh, good for you to show up. Finally, I have raspberries.
Oh man, no.
Any good berries on you?
You know, I definitely think, you know, there's expectation subversion, and then there's just, you know, just cutting the whole adventure. You know.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So
I think too.
Yeah.
Like, because with exploration, there's, like you said, there's this aspect of the unknown. We don't know what we're going to come upon. We don't know if what we do come upon is going to be interesting to us. But a big part of, like, a challenging part of your job, David, is making those things compelling so that we as characters actually feel driven to pursue them, you know? Like,
sure.
Rather than just placing a random encounter with a beast in the middle of the jungle, you know, it's something that will cause us to pause, ask ourselves, what would my character do? And then act accordingly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so
I was
something
thinking
Something that compels us to get into character. Yeah.
Like a puzzle mechanic.
Puzzles.
In a way.
Puzzles for Luna.
I know puzzles can get really tricky in D&D because you're just visualizing so many things. So maybe not puzzle in a sense where you have to like read separate things, and then or there's certain visual things that are there to try and organize. I don't know, but
yeah.
Maybe there's like a trap set up, or the swamp has what's the version? What's Quicksand's version?
Like
mud.
Sink
Sure.
mud.
There we go.
Sink mud.
That sounds better.
Sink
like
mud,
along those lines.
Okay.
It's like something for the characters to
This is great lizard folk
bypass.
jargon. I'm definitely putting that in.
Yeah. Puzzles are fun because they're so satisfying when you solve them.
So
I think it's a way to it's a way to bring up something that can enable the player to display some form of tactics.
Yes, enabling people to shine.
And on the flip side, if there is a puzzle in existence, then someone made a puzzle and said, if you solve this, you are worthy of accessing that, which is very interesting in terms of world building and lore.
Agreed.
Who the fuck made the puzzle? Like, that's very interesting. There's an intelligent designer. It's not just a monster.
Right.
So-
it introduces this concept that there's something else out there.
So I'll tell you, I love puzzles in games. I've used puzzles in games, right? But there is always the element that's tricky, especially where D&D is concerned, right? Can I just roll for it? And so you could institute a rule saying stuff like, well, this is a legit puzzle, right? You guys have, the whole availability of the internet to use to solve this, obviously, right? So it might seem fair to say the restriction is you can't reduce it to a roll. Like, we can't roll for it. You gotta solve it.
Well,
yeah, usually I hold rolls for if the party is truly struggling.
Fair?
Like, I want the problem solving to happen first. And if it becomes clear to me, sometimes I've made puzzles that are not as, they're just not as obvious to the people I'm presenting it to as they are to me. And it may be that like, oh, this is something that is a part of my daily life that is just an obvious answer and like a riddle that isn't in someone else's life, and that's not their fault.
Yeah.
So you at that point you're like, yeah, roll for it.
Yeah.
On the flip side, have you ever
classic
created
example is the
puzzles?
chair in the room.
Have you ever created puzzles that are just way too easy and you thought it was going to be like a big challenge?
Yeah, but I love that too. I love it because they feel so smart, and you're like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're brilliant. Yeah,
Like,
idea.
Ultimately, I think when you make things like puzzles, or even when you make certain things like, like traps or prisons and stuff in any sort of game, the objective is at some element to make it bad. Like, it's got to be winnable, right? There's the prison has a ventilation system that is conveniently halfling sized, right?
Or uncuffed.
Yeah, you got the bars are half pin barrel hinges, right? That kind of shit, like leverage. That's all you might need, right? You just need the best prisons and the best puzzles are escapable and solvable. Like, they have to be winnable.
Ideally, you never truly beat the party, right? As a DM, like that's the end of the story. If you truly beat the party, and that's not fun.
I personally, I shoot for the 7-30 split. Party wins 70. The world might win 30.
I think you learned to do that. I don't think you started with that.
What are you talking about?
We were in the zombie campaign. We were what level were we, Hannah? 1, 2?
Yeah.
We were 2. We started at 2.
And you get bitten by one of these creatures. It's like a DC 15 save.
No, it wasn't that high.
It was 15, man. I will bet so much on that.
We have the
part
recordings.
of the learning process too. Being a new DM, you have so much to grapple with.
Yeah, and I gotta say too, though, that was a tense campaign.
It was, but also we survived.
Yeah.
We should absolutely redo that. Or
ended up surviving safely. I
Most
think
of
in
us.
no small part,
But
due to our
But
skill.
okay, so I think kind of going back to
What do you mean,
exploration here,
most
like
of
we
us?
have a lot of really good stuff here.
Ryan died.
Oh yeah.
I really like
Sorry, Rolo.
puzzles.
I totally forgot.
Puzzles. And
Puzzles
we
are
haven't
good.
touched on
Hmm.
my second point, which is unearthing secrets.
Unearthing secrets,
It's
yeah.
part of building the world.
I absolutely agree with this. I will say, kind of going through it, in terms of where I kind of like landed, I definitely very much landed kind of like, if I had to bring up 2 points, it'd kind of be the same two that Button brought up, right? I really think exploration is good for finding and discovering lore, right? Or learning more about the world. It's the perfect time for it, right? Especially if it's stuff that, I always think it's interesting, especially if it's stuff that the world didn't know, right? Like you're finding something new, right? And post-apocalyptic really sets you up for that because everything's kind of new. The whole world's kind of reset to zero, right? So it's really interesting to kind of, just discover new stuff.
That's pretty much what we were talking about the other day. The idea of action-oriented exposition versus conversational exposition.
Yep. Like, you did mention that. Yeah, that's true. And like in these last couple of sessions, we really did kind of a transition. Like in the first session, it was very conversational kind of exposition and characters kind of conversing with each other, expositioning, their backstories. And then in this last episode that we did, it very much switched. We were finding stuff out based on the autopsy actions, right? We were finding stuff out from characters based on things that we were now noticing about each other, like Cress, noticing Luna having a weird night, right? Just stuff like that.
I will say though, I meta knowledge know that is a thing, but Cress doesn't. Cress hasn't actually learned anything except that Luna was having a panic attack. There hasn't been anything concrete learned.
That's true, but it does set up a lot of very interesting groundwork, right?
I get you.
Sets up some character intrigue.
You also have to remember that we're viewing this in multiple layers. Like, not only are we making this for people to view, but we also are observers and witnesses to what's going on. So it is a play onto us that we also affect. So like, even though she doesn't like tell Cress like, this is what I was thinking, Cress obviously saw she was going through some sort of situation. So like, that is the story you're witnessing, but you as the player about to know, all right, this is what's happening. This is building the rest of the story that then the viewer of all of this gets to combine into one big story.
Absolutely. I hesitate to call it like progress in getting to know each other, like, or to know anything about Luna's story. I know more. But character-wise, like, who knows when something like that will happen again, and like when pieces may or may not be put together that like Luna is going through something, and it's not just, end of the world panic attacks, which are very reasonable.
That would be fair.
I would have end of the world panic attacks. I absolutely.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. I'm trying to make sure I don't meta play that. Because I would hate for Cress to be like, that's weird, when it's not. It's not weird to be having a panic attack in the middle of the night when the world is ending. Playing true to character and true to their reason, rather than to the meta knowledge I have, is very important. And it wouldn't be fair to Nigel if I were like, you're being suspicious.
Yeah, I agree.
She's not.
I agree. I like that acknowledgement, because I know, it's fun for players like Nigel to show but don't tell.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I don't share that trait, so I applaud it when I notice when it shows up in people.
If I can, I'm excited. Like, if I can do it, like 6 months or so from now.
You play the long game.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't want to rob you of the long DM. Game.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to read into that as suspicious, that would rob you of the long game, which would be unfair because, again, it's not suspicious.
So here is something that I think is interesting then, is that this element of kind of like picking up on stuff and kind of interacting with that stuff, there is an element of this kind of very much being on the characters too, right? Characters kind of presenting those things, like, those kind of things coming up, making those things present, right? And then other characters kind of noticing and, or, maybe even kind of preparing a scenario for those things to be noticed too, right?
I understand the desire to avoid meta, acknowledgments of certain things, and I think your choice of going through this path with Luna specifically is a good one. Like, it's the better option in terms of a story. But like, when we're playing together, even if we're not recording, if it's just us playing a game, which is fine, we are storytellers individually. So like, when that meta knowledge, all that means is that we get to decide what we want that story to be. You want it to be Luna revealing this thing, and that's great and the correct choice if we're being honest. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's wrong to be like, this is what I want the story to be now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, from like a DM perspective, I love that shit, because you always want it, I think, to be a collaborative kind of effort, right? Otherwise, I just write a fucking book. So it's really nice when you can kind of get the idea of like what players are expecting, and then you can kind of just work around that, right? You find that middle ground, or really, just facilitate it, because half the time it's more interesting of a direction anyway, right? That's the organic story.
And that's the thing, like, yeah, I have a very high passive insight, and yeah, maybe Luna was being cagey, but I think that I have to respect Nigel's choices, and with the knowledge that he wants to play the long game. Like, I'm not just going to be like, you're being suspicious, especially with all of the context. This is collaborative. And so a big part of that is respecting the way that he is playing and honoring that, and not being like, well, because I have this big number here, I can just decide that I know that now. Like,
now
that's
it's my
shitty.
Story.
That's some bullshit. And maybe
roll it at 20. Tell me how your
says.
Maybe and like, I would love to know what's going on with Luna, but that will happen when I imagine Nigel will make choices that make it clear that revealing that is something that he's more okay with.
Yeah.
So I will wait.
Yeah.
I think that's true. And I also think that it's that's definitely true. Like, ultimately, the character is always in control of how quickly or slowly they reveal details about themselves and reveal their backstories. But I also think we can do things to set each other up for moments for that. You know what I mean? And whether or not they take the opportunity for that moment is totally up to them. But Pim, for instance, is like one of the things that I plan on doing with Pim in the next few episodes, especially as we're going to be traveling and having some downtime together, is like going up to each of you and just prodding a little bit. I think that's part of my favorite part of these phases of campaigns, when you're on the road, especially for the first time together. And it's like the first time you're taking a watch with this person and you have a chance to talk to them. Like, that's really fun for me. And especially Pim's relationship with Cress, like, so much shit has already happened to Cress and to both of us, but to Cress especially.
Yeah. To you too.
And we haven't even really talked about it yet. So, I mean,
I have so many
I plan on,
questions.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, definitely. Like, same. Like, I just have so many questions for all of you. The key is to like not ask them all at the same time.
But not just like,
it's hard too.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
the sort of things I want to ask.
Yeah.
The sort of things I want to ask is more like things that bring forth more improv. So, like, if you're doing a watch and you're just, sitting around looking, just asking a question of, what do you think your greatest lie was?
The 20 questions that like are more about who the character is rather than like their story. I love that.
Yeah.
I already have it. Lycus' greatest lie.
Lycus isn't his real name.
Do you want to tell us?
Lycus isn't his real name.
Actually,
It's Stratus D. Lycus.
It's like
I got you all. Oh
Uh,
man.
That's amazing.
I am excited to. Yeah, I love the way you've put it, Hannah, because it's so indicative of Pym that she's going to actively like prod at everyone. Because she's very inquisitive, and it just makes all the sense in the world that she would like single everyone out specifically individually and be like, so like I can see her with a little notebook, like little character studies of everyone.
With one little glass.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, that's her deal, is like learning about people, learning what makes them tick. I mean, not to
What are you, a cop?
not to reveal too much, but I will say like that is part of Pym's power, you know, is understanding the inner workings of people, what they want, what drives them. Not that I would use that over you guys as you're my party members, but
What's your insight?
It's not good. I'm not a perception based prodder. It's all charisma, baby. It's a big show.
I like Nigel's prepping. He's calculating.
I mean, my insight isn't bad. I am a jack of all trades, after all.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bards
at the
are
end
good
of the
at
day,
everything.
Bard is Bard.
Yeah.
But it's not my
-1.
strongest.
In
Can
this
I ask
section, I'm
you-
-1. So
Did you have any specific inspirations for Pym?
Not like really big inspirations. This one was very like kind of mine and David's sort of own creation.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, who did we have in mind, David?
This one was kind of close to the heart, really. Like, you know, the Pym's big thing is family, right? The search for family, the relationships between family members and how those things can kind of be very kind of complex, and, you know, just kind of also being in that crisis situation. Like, I don't know if anybody else thinks about this. I constantly think about shit like, okay, here I am, you know, at the store. What if an alien invasion were to happen? How would I get to Hannah?
What would I do? Yeah.
What would I like? You know, you think about that shit, right? So this is kind of it's a fun idea to kind of, you know, fuck around with in a game.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It's a very strong driving force for Pym is her relations with her parents mostly, but also anyone that she considers family.
Mm-hmm.
The reason. Go ahead.
Continue. You go.
All right. Well, the reason I asked about Pym and like any specific inspiration is because there's something about Pym that reminds me of like the classic young hero, but before they become that character, like while they're still not sure if their parents are dead. Like
the parents have to die.
Yes.
No.
But you know,
crossing
like
my fingers there.
Noted.
Right on that precipice of like, are they going to become that character or not?
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to play. It's like there's a lot of like just insane life experiences that she's just having for the first time. She's very young,
for
you
3
know,
months.
or doing absolutely nothing for 3 months.
But that in and of itself is a highly traumatic experience.
Exactly. Like that's a character shaping moment.
We actually had an alignment shift in zero sessions when that happened. You know, so Pym had a different alignment and a different subclass coming into this campaign.
Let me tell you, this character has already changed a lot. But not really, you know, not at the core, but mechanics have changed and alignment has changed. It's just a lot happening. You'll find out soon enough.
You know what's funny?
Will I be dead?
Okay, real quick. I really like the question of, did you have any specific character inspirations? We gotta flip it back to Ollie. I mean, obviously, okay, we can agree.
Let's all answer this question.
Maybe, let's all kind of go through, right?
Yeah.
But I do think let's start with Ollie.
Yeah. Okay. So there's 3 parts to this, and
2 words.
Okay.
Thought you'd never ask.
No. So there's something everyone has to know. Lycus was a character that I made in high school as a vampire prince power fantasy that I had as a young kid in high school. Was like, I want to be the alpha boy.
Yeah, right on.
That voice. That voice.
I didn't understand what any of this was or any of that meant. But like, that didn't go anywhere. That was a short game of not even D&D. Wild Talents is what the game was. That led to nowhere. But that character stayed with me because the whole point of him was that he was a character who was meant to be in control of something, but that wasn't ready for it. So I want this Lycus to be someone who his entire life had not taken charge of anything, had been places, helped people, but never wanted to be in charge. And now things have changed and he is in the position where he thinks it's time. And now in terms of that's the basic of who he is or where he's at in his life. Now, who was he based off of? Well, there's 3 characters. Bro from Gurren Lagann.
Nice.
Of course.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name.
Say
right
the
now.
biggest one for last.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bro from Gurren Lagann. A little bit of God, I'm forgetting the name of this fucking character so hard.
Describe.
Franchise.
Yeah.
Franchise.
Okay. The Castlevania TV show.
Trevor Belmont.
Yes, God.
See?
I love it.
I knew you'd get there.
Yo, button. Whoops.
Yeah, kind of that like adult child. Like I'm so tired. I'm just here to party. That aspect of because he is.
Yeah.
He's always just trying to have a good time. Like he has responsibilities, but he's like, I don't know, man.
I noticed that,
Yeah.
and also that like he wants everyone else to have a good time too. I really
Yes.
appreciate that in a person,
Especially at the end of the world.
right?
Yeah, that's the final character in this, who is Lycus. From One Piece, Monkey D. Luffy is obviously the last nail in the shitty coffin. That is. Obviously these characters, like they all make sense in some way. They all have a ridiculous
different
bravado.
elements. Yeah.
But each one focuses in on something. Bro is all about purpose and inspiring people around him. Belmont is all about, hey, I'm here to fuck, get wasted, and kill some monsters. Luffy's just here to be free to do whatever the fuck he wants with people and have fun with them. And I will wrap that into Lycus.
Yeah, I gotta say, Lycus, I've DM'd for a lot of chaotic characters before, but Lycus is one who Lycus's chaos it's very different. It's almost like it's a well-rooted chaos. It's not the chaos.
It's focused chaos.
Yeah, or really like it's enhanced chaos. It's not chaos for the sake of just like the random shit, but it's chaos that kind of is meant to display character. It's chaos with the intention of teaching you something about Lycus, which is really a lot of fun.
I feel like it's chaos that's based in this concept of freedom, essentially, which can be chaotic for sure, but it's based in this like core value of something that roots you down,
Yeah.
About Luna.
Thank you.
Luna? I was gonna go, Luna, let's see it.
I have 2 guesses.
Should we hear the guesses first and then see if they're close?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So one feels just any version of like Vampire Queen. Like there's a billion versions of this character, but she feels very Vampire Queeny, and like there can be good versions of it, obviously. So that first and foremost. Second, weirdly enough, she feels like the mom of every anime character. Like she feels like Ed and Al's mom from Full Metal Alchemist. We're just like.
Hard.
Not, minus
Not
the murder.
Brotherhood, like Sloth version?
No, Brotherhood version, where it's just like
secretly
like,
Luna's breast size or her bust is But it's just that sports.
Wait, I have
sports
a guess.
boss keeping it in.
I have a guess / insight.
Rob holding.
I do too.
I get some some goth Velma vibes. Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Nice.
Yeah, just like very smart, very insightful, not always the loudest person, but when she does say something, it's like really intelligent.
Okay, but hear me out. Because Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Olivier Armstrong.
You're right. Fuck what I said. You're right.
Wait, is that the
the
blonde?
The Angie blonde.
The
Not
sister.
Angie,
Yeah.
Stoic, like no nonsense, very intelligent.
Very loyal. Yes.
Before we move on, we all need to acknowledge real quick. Goth Velma, 10 out of 10. Yes?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I would partake.
Wasn't that Scarlett Johansson's character in Perfect Score?
Never seen the movie.
I don't know what you're
too.
talking about.
You guys can. So I've given you 2 movies this week to check out: Angel's Egg and Perfect Score. They're very, very different, and they're both absolute 110% inspirations for Sandsea. Have fun.
Ooh.
I'll say the 2 main ones.
I'm lying about one of those.
There's 2 main ones that come to mind. There's a third one that I'll save for another time. The 2 main ones are, I don't think none of you. I'm assuming no one's here has played Tales of Arise, but
I'm not.
There's
Not long enough.
pink-haired character that's in it that is not. It's she comes off as very blunt on when she speaks. Most of what she says, it's always surrounding an objective. Okay. So that's probably like one reason where it's going to take a while to get along with Lycus, because it's gonna like maybe be some like butting heads until I calm down. The next major one, and this was actually the one that I even listened to the music for. It helped me write her background. Was Jinx from Arcane.
Oh.
Really?
Everybody's like,
surprising.
oh shit.
Because she has big Caitlyn energy.
So I think
she does.
That
We're just
implies
early.
Yeah.
We're only level 3 guys.
So what you're saying is that this is what you're putting on. Is the outside is the Olivia from Full Metal Alchemist, but on the inside you're jinxing it. You're just waiting.
One of the things I try and make sure that it's clear that Luna's facial reaction is always there's no war in bossing, say that like really
stoic,
monotone. Stoic makes it seem positive, I guess. More like just creepily in this same mode, I guess. And you'll see breaks in it, like when she sees Pym or when she's identifying items, that level of excitement comes out.
Oh, we got to talk about the items you guys got at some point too.
I'll say part of the reason.
I kept any.
I think maybe.
Oh god.
Part of the reason is that it's based on where she's from. Information is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And your facial expressions can be a sense of disclosure to everyone around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Kind of why she tries to maintain a straight face.
That poker face.
But yeah, definitely Jinx. It's surprising, but
Luna playlist. Poker face has to be on there.
Yeah.
Did you just drop your pen?
I did.
Just making sure.
Because my mic would get real annoying.
I'm so curious to see what's behind it. Oh.
Cress.
Cress.
Inspirations.
Character inspo. Go.
Are we guessing again?
Oh, should we?
I can say right away that I didn't have any particular ones when I made the character, but now looking back, I can see like traits in characters. So I don't want to mislead you and think that I was like, oh yeah, that.
Same.
And it's interesting because our 0 sessions were Cress pre the world ending, and it was very different. They were very carefree, very happy, very like Tonks meets Hagrid, both from Harry Potter. Like very high spirited, very capable, but very rebellious. And like you said, Jinx, and I immediately thought Misfortune, just like very playful. And now they're completely different for obvious reasons. It's funny that you said Trevor Belmont, Ollie, because I was thinking about how like Sypha they are right now. They're like, God hates me.
Oh no. A little bit of a midlife crisis.
No, I'm pretty young.
Yeah,
true.
And I was also thinking like they now have a lot of attributes of like Princess Mononoke. Like a lot of weight on the shoulders. And Izumi Curtis, if we're going back to Full Metal, because I love it.
Yeah.
Izumi.
They're very focused in a way that they didn't have to be before the world ended. Now they have all these tasks that they failed at and are like, what do I do?
The other thing too about the Izumi thing that I think Cress really gets to is that kind of empathy for others, like sensing when others are struggling and kind of being very, just kind of being aware of it and kind of being prepared to kind of help, you see it in the way Cress, kind of is like, okay, this is all crazy and this is all shitty, but I'm backing up Pim. Like Pim's got some shit going on and I want to be there for my friend. That kind of undaunting loyalty still, even in the face of it. Like that's very Izumi as well.
Well, and this is Izumi too. Izumi is very much failed at what she wanted to do, and that is over now. And Cress is like, Pim could still have a happy ending.
Yep. Yeah.
So they're pursuing that. They're like, mine's gone, but hers is not.
Pim does not believe that your happy ending is gone.
Hey,
Pim can
you guys
be wrong.
Resolve that at the table.
Or Pim could be right. To be determined. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Listen, we're part of the Merry Men now, and there's always going to be a happy ending.
Pim believes there's a happy ending for all of us.
Aww.
She's got.
Speaking of happy endings.
No, not a transition.
Careful what
Granny.
you say next.
Granny. Oh no.
Inspirations for Granny. What was it?
I would like to say that she was literally just a joke on apples, but
hey,
we love an apple joke.
I remember one thing that I was there for. I remember when we were on your stream and we had everybody vote. And it was Harengon, or Grung.
Yeah, and Harengon won. So
could have been a Grung.
I could have been a Grung.
I feel like that would have been a totally different character.
Harengon won unanimously. Like it wasn't close. It was like 12 to
12 to nothing.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted the bunny. So I had David on stream with me talking about D&D stuff. We were creating Granny Mull, actually. And we got raided and all of this nonsense happened. But for inspiration on Granny Mull, I don't really know where she came from. Looking back on it, I think it was just I wanted a character that would love and appreciate and support wholeheartedly. And she became so much more than that. So I don't know. She kind of grew herself. I'm really not too sure where the inspiration for her came from, aside from my need to be loved.
So Granny, one thing that's always going to be really fun for me as like a memorable experience is being DM'd in my own world. When Granny did that one shot. That was pretty cool. I felt like that was a very interesting experience to learn a lot about a character in a very weird sense. Like the character as a quest giver, that was really cool.
Was Granny a character before that, or was it?
Granny was the character before that.
Oh, okay.
I just you gave me a little corner of your world, and I love lore building, and you're like, you can do whatever the fuck you want to this corner of the world, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Was it the
You
Ironwood?
gotta be careful of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aww.
Yep. Ironwood's mine. Well,
Yep.
the burrows technically.
The burrows of the Ironwood.
Yeah.
Granny Smith, you have a like a wolf scarf type thing. Can you denounce it being Smith lineage for a little bit? Are you able to do that?
I plead the fifth.
They found Granny's tippet.
Oh, you guys found it.
Yeah.
I was wondering where that darn thing had gone off to.
Oh,
So you got it. Waiting for you.
I didn't read it
Think about
carefully.
that, though. Lycus doesn't know things. Really. So Luna was like, this helps you. So he put it on.
You put it on.
I was too
Yeah.
excited about the damage.
He has accrued a level of exhaustion.
Oh no.
Didn't you
And the thing-
misread it? Like you weren't actually aware of that effect until it happened.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, Nigel didn't read the whole thing, but when I added it to my list, I was like, at the bottom it said,
Oh.
"Ooh, werewolves, not good, bad." So
Oh
But
no.
my instincts were all Lycus doesn't fucking know that, and the smart one said wear this, so he's gonna wear it.
Yeah.
I
Hey
get a
man,
feeling.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give you an inspiration. If you don't already have it, you're probably gonna need it going into the next session.
Oh,
You get like one straight roll of your choice.
Yeah,
Get a
one straight roll
feeling.
of your choice, bud. You hold on to that.
I do get a feeling that Granny's gonna get a lot of questions when she comes back.
Oh my god, I cannot wait. Cannot wait. You know, I Granny is a very fun piece to the cast. You know, I really think our group has a very Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing going for it right now. Right? You see a few of the parallels here and there. But I mean, you could say that with a lot of like, you know, cast kind of stuff, right? I mean, Lycus, Quill,
Obviously.
right? We're talking about inspirations and stuff. And I mean, for when I personally, I think whenever you want to run any sort of story or adventure for a cast of characters like Guardians of the Galaxy, what James Gunn did, that was fantastic. Like that's a way to run, you know, a cast kind of story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the game was good too.
Mm.
By the way. They had a game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Game of the Year.
Guardians
Pay
of the
attention.
Galaxy?
Yeah.
Wow,
But it was
no,
more based
I
on the
didn't know.
comics than the movie though.
Sure. Yeah, you know, it's a fun thing, right? The Peter Quill and Lycus parallels are kind of there, right?
I see it.
I
would say,
Pim and
like-
Mantis.
Yeah, sure. I was gonna say Cress and Gamora, I think.
Oh, but
You don't like
Oh.
that?
Well-
Let me tell you
No,
why.
it's fair.
No, it's because you're very, very powerful. And
Gamora's like the most competent.
you
one on
don't
that group.
always show it, but when you show it, it's like a show. If that makes sense.
Luna and Rocket.
Luna and Rocket.
I was gonna say Groot.
Groot and Edenor.
No, Adnor's
Luna and Rocket.
I don't know.
nice.
Who?
The
Tree?
John Baptiste.
Oh, no. Granny. That's Granny. You guys,
that's great.
you don't know
sorry,
yet,
no.
Who's
but
Granny?
that's Granny.
Who's
Granny's
Granny?
Drax. Granny's
No,
Drax.
I don't know. That's not a clear parallel. None of these are really perfect.
None of these
parallels.
obviously are perfect.
The best one is
No.
Quill,
Oh my gosh. Granny as Drax. That's amazing.
I want to see a
I see Drax
steroided
'cause
bunny.
of his strength.
I honestly was thinking Granny and what's that blue guy's name?
Drax.
That's Drax.
No, not Drax.
big blue guy?
The,
No,
the one with the
father
whistle?
figure. The father
daddy?
figure. Yeah.
I don't know his name,
Daddy.
The guy
because he had this line like, he may have been your dad, but he weren't your.
Yeah.
He may have been
your
your pops.
Been your father.
Being your daddy.
I can see that. I can see that one.
Yondu, thank you.
Yondu, there we go.
Yeah.
You know what's funny to me? You guys, we've now compared Lycus to Trevor Belmont and Quill, and Crest to
Sypha.
Yes, and Gamora, which I think is very interesting because aside from the weird sexual tension,
oh my gosh,
it's okay. It's okay. We know.
I think. Listen, Lycus is just a horny dude. It doesn't matter.
No one is safe.
I think their relationship actually is surprisingly similar in that Lycus needs someone to rein him in at all times, because there is nothing that he doesn't think he can achieve, especially with the crew. He needs people who can go, cool, what about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like
the dreamer.
We'll see how it plays out.
The visionary. You gotta have one of those, but the visionary needs the team to execute.
Yeah, you have a backup character, right?
Oh, never.
No.
I've never been a backup character.
Dude, I very much believe who says death is like the end of games, right? It's just like another choice. We're just gonna go down.
Yeah.
Up to as long as you want to play the character, we can make it happen. That's not an okay to just go and try to die though. Like, you can't just become Ghost Monk, Astral Werewolf. Like that's too many labels.
Pim's going to level 20, baby.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh,
all the way to the top.
Absolutely. With your subclass,
that's my goal.
You better go to 20.
I
would love that.
Yeah.
Painstakingly.
Yes.
Okay.
Such a good one.
I'm very excited to be if you're given your attitude of like death, it doesn't have to be the end. Like no matter what form it takes, I can't wait to be a 20 level druid.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gotten to play a level 20.
None of us can wait for that.
Play God.
I've never played level 20 anything.
They're so mechanically interesting.
They're pretty
18 and beyond.
They're nuts. Yeah. After 18, it really gets like, okay.
Yeah, you're ageless. Isn't it cool?
It's not even that. Yes, that's very cool. It's casting spells in wild shapes that last until you drop to 0 or change back whenever. Like, that is very interesting.
Yeah, if you're a moon druid, I think you almost very few spells, but you become immortal.
Yeah.
Just keep shape-shifting.
Yeah. I'm not a moon druid, but I'm an elf druid.
Yeah, so there's other ways to become immortal.
There's a vibe there.
Okay,
I also don't want to be immortal.
Yeah. Who'd really want that? That sounds miserable.
Sounds very sad.
Next session, you guys are heading into the jungle. Objective-wise, we are thinking about going after, trying to find salvage from the honor, and picking up the trail of the crew of the Wild Hunt. All right. So, anything we want to clarify before, like, as you guys are kind of going into this? Any questions you guys have about, like, I don't know.
I want to ask about
or we can also talk about expectations. Also, I think I posted a question for everybody to kind of think about and mull over before this as well. We should probably address that at some point.
I thought we already did that.
Did we?
Exploration.
We did.
Yeah. Exploration.
Yep, we did. Yep. Okay.
Well, we kind of got sidetracked really quickly, but but I want to ask about, so in this, I want to ask about the environment, basically.
Sure.
So it's a jungle.
It is, or was.
But it's a jungle that's been dry for a while.
Yeah, like, is it still dense, or are
it's still dense?
Like...
Is it still? I know it's humid. Are there
still? There are parts of it that are still pretty dense. Like, I mean, a lot of these trees are like old fucking trees, right? Deep roots, you know, and various different things, right? So they don't all like go over, right? But there's, for the most part, it's very much like swept in one direction, right? Sand dunes kind of like rolling out throughout it.
The way the wave went.
The way
basically.
the wave moved, yeah, you can almost like if you're high enough elevation, you can almost like see everything kind of like leaning over to one side a bit.
Well, I'm excited for that because we're clearly tidally locked to the monarch. So what that means for the planet is very interesting. Like I'm excited to go through this jungle and essentially see where pockets of water may have been stored, what might not have gotten loose, and it's going to be, I mean, this is the opportunity to find those pockets that are still saved. And like, I'm also excited to think about what it means, the fact that the sun is always high in the sky, the fact that we are locked to this thing, what's happening, why is it still here? Trying to investigate what the cycle that it's trying to complete is. I think that this is a good starting place to do that.
Also, though, thinking about like the biology of a jungle, the ecology, I suppose. Like, I imagine that. So it's been dry for what? How long? 3 months? 6 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Whatever.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks. And when you think about what this wave probably did to like different levels of the food chain, I'm concerned about those that were at the top of the food chain, like larger beasts of the jungle, now being like very starved of resources. And then us going out there, I think we're going to be vulnerable.
Seems like an easy GG to me because they're all weakened from not eating for quite some time.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Weakened, but also starving and desperate.
Yeah, I'm saying humans die after 3 days of no water. You know, creatures of monstrous size, and I imagine you want to wait until in-game for Chris to roll this, but they worked with the bestiary.
Depending on what you want to roll, we can do it now. I don't mind.
I want to know what where are my dice? I want to know what sort of monsters would adapt well to this new biodome, and what sort of monsters, especially because I've been to the Whispering Jungle, what ones would really be suffering and weakened at this point?
Sure. Okay. Roll your nature.
Nature. Ooh! 22.
Oh, very, very good. Okay.
I'm ready to wait.
A couple of the big ones right off the gate that would probably do well. Creatures that don't have a whole ton of don't require a whole ton of resources and would probably flourish on dead things. So scavengers, or even things
Carrion.
Or even things like bugs too, right? Even though it's humid, right? They don't require a whole ton, and they can get their liquid from other things, especially probably the things that they're just eating. So insects are fairly low maintenance, right? Reptiles to some extent, and as far as reptiles go, right? Kind of the big ones in the area were dinosaurs, right? So the jungle around here, dinosaurs were like the primary species. There were other
I'm aware.
things.
I got some.
Yeah. But they are,
keep your secrets.
They will. Some of them will probably have a hard time, but some of them, being fairly slow-moving reptiles, with large body masses, right, might hold out a little bit longer, especially if they're primarily herbivorous, right, or even willing to scavenge, right? Let's see.
What would be doing
poor dinosaurs?
Sorry, doing poorly. Mammals in particular probably wouldn't do very well. Heavy coats, high energy requirements. They
like a giant ape.
Well, maybe.
Is it just gonna reek of dead mammals as we walk through this jungle?
Well, it doesn't reek of dead mammals necessarily, but it doesn't smell great. It's mostly decaying plants at this point too, right? Or
with 2 weeks of like constant like sun. High noon sun, these things are cooked like literally.
Yeah, it's very fucking humid.
Those
I mean,
crispy.
some of them are huge, right? These trees were like at one point ginormous. I don't have the jungle article pulled up in front of me, but I think the trees got up to like something like 300 plus feet, right? So these are some huge fucking trees that are going to take a while to dry out, right? And a lot of them, for as much things that do topple, a lot of them don't necessarily topple, right? I mean, they are deep-rooted stuff, right? And the waves, I mean, not a single one of you would have seen how big the waves were getting in the jungle. So, it's, coastal region kind of shit. So they very light. A lot of them, you can see a lot of them are still upright and doing all right. They're obviously drying and dying, but they're not, toppled and broken. There are obviously though many that are and displaced. And then
is it is it like the graveyard from Lion King but with trees then?
To some extent, a lot of them you can imagine a lot of like things that have been kind of moved around will hit up against like deep-rooted things, and kind of cause like big pile-ups of debris, which will catch then things like sand, dirt, and kind of create like mounds along thick tree lines and stands along the outside of those. In the tree lines within those, a lot of that's filtered out a lot of the debris, so it's a little bit easier to kind of navigate in those areas, but you don't have as much like visual
dude, if any of us chose ranger and had desert as favorite terrain,
I am proficient in survival. I have a +7.
Yeah,
I'm very
not bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. You still have a druid.
I'm a druid.
Yeah.
I can make clockwork devices,
which we're working on. I got to review some of the crafting rules with you. I know I feel like I'm to some extent maybe cheating you because the racial ability of the gnome does to some extent specify stuff, but
it doesn't specify time. It just says I can do it.
Yeah, but it does specify clockwork devices, which clocks
and qualify. I can offer help, which I should have done and I forgot.
Well,
because you didn't know I was doing it. I was doing it alone.
Isn't it cool? Isn't it interesting to think about?
But I'm still working on it.
The clock that you make, and whenever you guys decide now is midnight, that's kind of the time for the world.
I forgot to, but I was gonna ask in a session. So when does it start?
Well, the clock's not done yet. But you guys will eventually decide that. Yeah, so you guys will decide what is the momentous occasion where time officially starts.
No, I can help you in one more level. I can tell you exactly.
I was about to say, yeah, you have a keen mind.
Oh, damn it, that's right.
When
I'll let you play with your toy.
When that clock starts ticking for real, I think Lycus is gonna, with no power or authority, declare that it is year 1 AD after, destruction or whatever.
Well, it is year 1000. We know that actually.
It just seems like
that was a different age. Like
But it is,
start your
it's a totally
calendar
different
when you
era.
decide to start your calendar.
Reset.
There are different calendars. Like please don't ask for a roll about it, but I do have an Erosian calendar that I'm working on that is slightly different than the standard calendar, but I use the standard calendar just because it's easy for us to kind of keep track of, and it's names and months and all that shit that we know. Right, but I am in the process of working on another calendar still.
I just like the idea of the introduction of a new era, like of something so cataclysmic like we just experienced, that history says, no, we're starting over now.
I like that a lot. I love that shit. Let's go for it.
You're gonna try and claim it, like add Lycus to one of the initials or something?
No, that's not what he wants to be remembered for.
Year 1 AL.
Yeah.
after Lycus.
Or DL during Lycus.
Oh my word.
Because Lycus never dies.
Yeah.
No, I'm just into it. I'm just into that. That's one of the reasons I like Gundam so much. Like their consistency with in-universe like eras.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
tracking their own history is really fucking neat.
It makes the world feel, it gives it weight, you know. It feels like there's something there, right? Which I agree with you. Gundam does that very well. Right? It's definitely one of the better franchises to handle it. Okay, so I don't know if I really had anything else, but yeah, go for it.
So when we're walking this jungle, like I guess with the trees being so tall, we're in shade?
At some parts. You know, you can keep to the shade, you can exit the shade, right? Depends how you decide to travel.
I feel like a lot of the canopy might have been ripped
There's definitely,
off.
yeah. Definitely within the jungle, you can find shade.
So then my next question is, this is like, I guess, I don't know if you count this as meta, but how many decanters are there in the world?
Who knows? I will say the decanter of endless water was I believe a common item.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
so you can say, man,
let's refill the oceans.
But I understand what you're saying, and
pour some salt.
Think about the
there.
implications of that. Let's see how many you guys can figure out, or you know, maybe the whole campaign becomes finding decanters of endless water.
Oh my gosh!
Probably one of the most valuable items in the world now.
I know,
it's not
isn't
common
it
anymore.
Like I love that kind of shit too. Like, you know, post-apocalyptic setting just takes this item that was common and turns it into like absolutely, you know, required, essential. Yeah, that's the word. Required.
Yeah. I was also thinking of doing some sort of combination between the endless water and shape water. I think shape water is a cantrip.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe you know, control it or freeze it. Block by block.
Make a swan ice sculpture.
So
for the
I
ball.
also
I'm watching too much Bridgerton, you guys.
Create a fountain. Like, see how high I can get a fountain. Maybe try and freeze that. Now it's a huge ice column, and then drop that on something.
That's a perfect plan. There are no flaws in that plan.
Hell, turn it upside down, freeze it as it comes. Make an elevator.
You know, just stand on top
an
of
elevator
it, freeze it, and just fly right up to the monarch. Why not?
Done. We just won the campaign.
Because there's space dragons that are coming out in August that are gonna do that for us.
Fair point.
Oh my god.
We need to hurry up and get to level like 15 because Lycus desperately wants to punch the monarch in the face.
Oh my god. We'll get there. Hopefully before 15.
It's gonna be so good.
We'll get there. Lycus, we don't know though. Jury's still out.
He has almost died roughly 6 times, I think.
We've had
Lycus in basically 6 sessions.
Yes. Lycus's near death rate is very high. It's very high.
Hey,
Lycus, I'm worried about you.
I told you when I made the character. I told you when I made the character that I planned that he plays like he's a tank when he is the fucking opposite.
Oh no.
That's fair.
Maybe you're Drax. Although Drax is the tank, but I always remember the scene of Drax, you know, in the thing, like watching the Armada come over, like, come on, with his 2 knives.
Oh.
There's a little bit of Drax in all of us. Drax is a family guy.
If we
like
can all be so lucky. Let's see.
You wanted to do a public high-lows.
Oh yeah, public high-lows. Yeah, let's do it. Sorry. It's been a long
the third one?
Looking forward to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, there you go.
Let's start. You guys want to roll for it?
Sure.
Let's just roll for it. Let's see. That'll be an easier way to kind of decide this shit from now on.
6.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm going first.
Ooh, I got a 19.
19 for
I got a nat 20.
Nat 20.
I just
Lycus, what'd you get?
Roll dice.
I also got a 6.
Also got a 6.
Your dex,
I think your dex
is
higher. Yeah. And Granny got an 18. All right. So I think it's Nigel. Diana, JJ, and then
Ollie.
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 Honestly, I call you Lycus a lot.
Yeah,
even
same.
in the real world.
Well,
Like we
Same.
refer to you around the house as Lycus.
that's my bad. That is also my internet persona.
Yeah, well, it's in Discord
okay.
too. It's everywhere.
That's okay. And then Button, you'll be our anchor. All right, Nigel.
Trying to think. The highs, lows, looking forward to. I think
Not necessarily in that order, if that's how it comes to you.
what's coming to me is looking forward to. I guess ways to display why Jinx was sort of an inspiration, because there's actually a mechanic I've been meaning to speak to you about, David, that I wanted to.
I am all ears, my friend.
Put into
Whenever you want
place.
to.
Lows to me is getting used to. There's a lot of world building, and it's getting used to the amount of nouns being thrown at me,
Yeah, there are a lot of. It is hard to keep
like
track
names
of.
of.
Yeah, I gotta flesh out the world anvil a little bit more, so that'll do a lot of the helping for you. But I mean, I don't know.
Got
if
the
that
background,
will,
yeah.
But
Remember when it was how often were you going to write those articles?
yeah.
It's a lot to write. I have a
Reminder.
list of NPCs
agree,
by
Button.
location, NPCs by PC, groups, places.
I told him when he set that goal for himself, I was like, "Are you sure about this, buddy?"
The thing is, I have like a lot of partially written stuff. It's just
You do.
I don't feel like the meat on it is good enough to post. But maybe I should just lower my standards. Then I can definitely produce once a week. That's, if I drop my standards significantly.
We
Okay,
should
but
all
yeah.
drop our standards.
All right.
Honestly, probably.
So yeah,
I'm trying to think like anything specific for highs.
there's nothing about it.
There's
No,
nothing
no,
I
I
like
haven't-
so far
because-
about this
No
campaign.
highs.
I forgot what I said after the session at the time.
Just right now in your notebook.
Across the whole session,
The-
across all.
Two across the
Off the dome.
yeah, all
What
sessions.
you got?
The easiest one is just being able to do more role play without really having something instigated in a way. Not like something doesn't actually.
Organic
there are
kind
things.
of
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess,
organic kind
a
of
little bit more of
interactions
that.
and yeah, absolutely.
This is what I said. Me being able to find out more about something related to background was the thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your background?
My background, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those trying to find out information about someone.
You're
Be able
scared.
to find out a little bit.
Interesting.
All right.
Looking forward to?
Looking,
I thought that was the
I guess-
Jinx RP, but yeah, go for it.
Oh.
yeah, that's part of it, and then exploring this jungle, being able to cast a few spells. Finally, use this decanter pretty creatively.
Man,
Looking forward to as well.
that was a randomly rolled up item.
Do you?
So
when I saw it,
good.
when I
That's
saw
a
it, I was
happy
like,
surprise.
"What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What a fucking game changer right out of the gate."
Yeah.
Thank you, Dice Gods.
Thank fuck. I was like, I don't want to spend a spell every day on water.
That is
Boo.
huge. I rolled it up and I was like, I rolled up all of those things and I was just like, damn. Then I saw that one. I was like, damn.
Could
Uh,
I be like Iceman, and if I'm like, let's say falling, for example, and aim the decanter like diagonal,
Like Frozone?
and then they're like
Is that what you mean?
yeah.
Well, the
that's
water
another
isn't
example,
going to
yeah.
fall faster than you, though.
But if it's shooting out 30 gallons of water like a fountain,
If it's
Maybe.
actively pressure shooting water out, then maybe.
And
But
it
I don't
does-
know if
it
that's how it
does-
works.
I'll double
it's like
check. But it's
it gushes out in a geyser 30 feet long.
A
That's like
geyser?
part of the
Okay,
description.
well, that's
I think
That's-
I will say, depending on the spell you're using, if you're thinking about the cantrip shaped water, I think it specifies 5 feet blocks at a time.
Mm.
And you are shooting out much more water than you are freezing. So
Well, both are happening. Well, yeah. I mean, both are happening every 6 seconds.
Looking forward to his highs, lows. Let's do next. I think it was Granny.
It was me.
Hannah.
Hannah. Sorry. Hannah.
Highs, lows, looking forward to. Highs.
She's saying.
No, I'm trying to choose. There's a lot of things that I like so far.
Doesn't have to go in that order.
Yeah. I want to start with highs though. I think I don't know. I feel like a broken record here, but my high has always been getting to know the other characters that I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time with. Like, I always get so excited for a zero session where the party comes together because it's like this moment of potential where all these different personalities meet and you just start to like, your brain just starts to work. You make your initial judgments and you imagine how you're going to work together in the future, and you imagine how what you can offer is going to help this person and what that person can offer is going to help you. And the synergy, like the potential of the synergy is really exciting to me. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's sort of a high and what I'm looking forward to really at the same time. But that's always been my favorite part of D&D is just those early stages where you're getting to know each other and there's just like all the potential in the world. So that's exciting to me. Lows.
Getting to know Lycus.
Fair.
Oh, Lycus is actually Pim has deemed Lycus a fun guy so far. I guess being captured wasn't great. Being imprisoned wasn't great, but you know, there was stuff to there was there was stuff to learn in that experience too, and it is sort of shaping how we're moving forward. So lows, I guess that would be it. Okay. Just having missed some time in the world. Yeah, and I'm just looking forward to like being a team, you know? It's my favorite part of life and it's my favorite part of D&D. It's just building relationships with people in and out of character and just learning how we can help each other.
Oh.
That's very Pim sentiment. Nice.
I am Pim, you guys. Okay.
Granny.
Granny kind of got taken out of the game a little early.
This is a little difficult to answer, but go for it.
What was your favorite part last week?
Yeah, what did you really like?
What did I really like?
What did you glean?
I will
How's
say,
the tentacle
JJ
picnic going?
How's the tentacle?
We've talked a lot about some of the upcoming stuff, so I know there is JJ knows stuff that Granny doesn't necessarily know. And the other thing too is these questions don't have to be answered in character, obviously. They can be meta.
Yeah. So I know for Granny specifically, it was great seeing Pim. And it was also amazing for her to be like, oh, I can actually help people grow trees by cooking. Yay. It was amazing meeting Cress and a dragon again. Like, that's all like really cool, exciting things because she's been holed up in her burrow for so long. Lows, the tentacle picnic, not shaping up all that great. She doesn't appreciate it much.
Oh no.
There's a lot of blur going on.
Are you sure? It sounds like so much fun.
It's way too much.
A lot of blur going on.
Too much fun. You got it.
It's too much excitement for an old lady like me.
I bet.
What I am excited for, like,
shut your mouth. You're disgusting.
What I am excited about is getting Granny back into the game. Just to be able to roleplay how much she's changed from this one encounter. There's a lot going on, and I'm super excited. Like, she has undergone some shit, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how that plays out in game. She also just hopes to punch that tentacle guy in the face just one time. She'd really like to do that.
All right.
Can I just thought of one more thing. I hate to go back, but I really want to say it.
What is it?
So looking forward
high,
to it for
low,
me.
forward? Okay.
Yeah. I would be remiss not to mention how much I'm looking forward to playing out this subclass that you made, Button. I feel like I have only just barely scratched the surface, and there's abilities that I haven't used yet, even at level 3, and I'm like so excited for Pim to grow into that, because it's all about like deception and manipulation and smoke and mirrors and distractions, and the setting hasn't been like quite right to utilize all that yet, but I know it's coming and I'm very excited too. Okay, that's all.
I'm excited to see you play it.
Alrighty. Zelikis?
Zelikis. So I'm gonna start with lows because I want to end on some pretty good high notes. So low for me, I think this is so hard because like my low as a player would probably just be maybe some of the pacing in the second episode, but like that's not like it's not be a thing we could fix. Like things happened, now we got to resolve them. Things happen, it's just how it goes. If every single episode could be action, it would be fucking wild, but like it wouldn't be a story.
No.
Right.
But I guess a character low, Lycus has been facing a lot of failure that has come because of personal failings in his past and dealing relationships poorly, and that's rough. Like, so that's something. I guess that's a low, if you will. But highs, just like pure highs, character and player. Synergy between me, Ednor, and Luna, and our very first interaction, just daisy chaining our way up to the goddamn ship. An improv plan, and it worked perfectly. Like that just felt so good. Like it gives me hope for how these characters will, despite the fact that these three are the least likely to get along, I think, and yet they have teamed up already so well. It's amazing.
Yeah, really wanted the ship.
I'm sorry. How many times?
If we had $1 for every time we heard that one.
Another quick. I have two more highs, and I'm sorry if there's too many.
No.
Another high for me is getting like so quickly into the stuff with his exes. I know that was also a low, but like the fucking I jumped off a ship with a dude and we survived. That was amazing. That was the fucking raddest shit.
That was so
cool. But I think my
Nigel
favorite
messaged me afterwards and he's like, dude, you better watch out. Like, that's gonna come up some more.
my other favorite moment, I think possibly my favorite moment, was actually at the very end of the last game session. Because pretty early on, Lycus was taking on whatever like quest was given to him. Like, hey, we need someone to find this. We need someone to find this. And Lycus was like, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, we'll do that. No problem. Whatever. And there was a conflict with Crest real early on about like, hey, you promised we'd do this other thing. And me as a person, I am smarter than Lycus by magnitudes. So I had a plan. Lycus has ideas at best. So we actually got together and getting the chance to explain, for Lycus to express like, this isn't just me being gung-ho. I think this is how it works best for all of us. And like the team actually going, yeah, it felt like a real important moment for him, considering he's never led before. He's only ever followed his gut and gone on his own, and now he's trying to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, personal gray high for me.
That's a good one.
It was like a Mass Effect situation where, yeah, you did a decision. Your one of your partners at the time, being Crest in the situation, you know, something pops up where Crest does not agree to this or like that, and you chose like the right dialogue choice to counter that. Then it's +1. We're back into neutral.
It was frankly Pim saying that she wanted to do it first. They were like, okay.
Looking forward to?
Yes, looking forward to. In this next session, like, again, most of my stuff is still very Lycus focused because this is the only framework I really have. Like, I have other things that I hope for, obviously. Like, in terms of the world itself, I there's some things I really want to see. But short term is going to be about me and my character, I suppose. I want to take time to understand the role of each character in the team. Like, I want to be able to, at the end of next session or the session after that, be like, I think you should take the role of this on the ship. I think you should be this, and have a decent reasoning behind those things.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The mark of a good leader, know who to delegate to.
Right on. Fantastic.
Good ones.
Yeah, that's some good shit. Button.
I'm gonna do the same thing that Ollie did and start with my lows because it was the same. Cress has been consistently failing at everything that is most important to them, and that is like obviously like, ugh, I'm bad at the game. But like, obviously it's like there's nothing you can do but just keep trying. Yeah, like getting kidnapped, the things that like happened and sparked the like the things that happened when the world started to end, they completely failed. The way that they got kidnapped was a complete failure on their part. And like, I know that none of you guys were here for it, but like they continued to fail when they continued trying to do what they have set out to. And even with like Pim not being able to get her father's location, not being able to get anything concrete was another failure, and that was a failure for someone they care about. And they keep failing the few people they have left, which is just like heavy. And their civilization's gone. So it's like this character has nothing to feel joy over right now. Which is tough. Because hearing that I was like the Gamora hurt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it as a bad thing.
No, it makes sense. But they were so joyful. So that's really sad. Highs, getting to start to see the changes that have taken place and like thinking about how to restructure the world and just seeing like the very tips of the icebergs for everyone else. And what I'm looking forward to is learning about Lycus's lycanthropy and his, which is very new, it sounds like. And it sounds like he's been through a fuck ton in a very short time, which they can relate to. And I'm excited for them to ask about that. I'm excited to learn more about Pim's specific goals and thoughts regarding Brina and Brock. I'm excited to learn more about Luna, and what they do have a sense of already is that she is inclined to the arcane and deeply curious and level-headed, and they find all of those things so lovely and interesting. Like, it's funny that, Nigel, you said that Luna is like Jinx, because they looked at her as like almost a balm. They were like, oh, God, someone has their shit together. Thankfully. And with Edenor, especially because of some backstory things, he's also very much like, he seems like a pillar to them. But as a player, obviously, I know that he has some very problematic tendencies. But to Crest, they're like, Oh god, an ASMR. Thank fuck. We're okay. We're gonna be okay. And like, I'm so excited to, first of all, get Granny back, but just to learn more about her incredibly varied history. Like, there are so many things about all of the players at the table that I cannot wait to learn. And I cannot wait to see how it's all incorporated into this world, because it's so vast and David has spent so much time on it. And that's why I have this insane document that is color coordinated.
Yes.
And I have all the places, and I have all of the characters from the places, and I have all, like, I have a little red string chart. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have red string charts for the other player characters at the table and in the world at large. It's so beautiful.
What do you use to take your notes? Out of curiosity.
Mural. One second.
Mural?
I'll give it to you.
Mural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Links, please.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you're using
use-
Google Docs like a fucking...
I mean, I have a Google Doc too.
Oh.
A mural is a thing where you can do your red string theories.
I'll one up you, Hannah. I was doing notes. What notepads?
Nice. Simple.
Wow.
Simple does it.
I'm more method.
Old
Lycus
school.
won't take any notes. I'm not going to take any notes. I'm going off the top of my dome.
I have insane notes. I have my messy
Oh
in-session
my
notes,
God.
and then I go and clean them and organize them.
I have an intense
I love this
Word
already.
documentary. Like, thanks, David.
Hannah's gonna be trolling this website for a bit.
Mural
It's
is
very
my
good.
new
I'm sorry that was a very
project.
long highs. I'm just
No,
excited
that's-
about all of you and all the pieces. It's like what Nigel was saying. It's a puzzle.
it
we're all a part
really
of it.
is. And I've told you guys
I'm
this
also
before.
excited to succeed at something.
Yes.
Let's wait for that. I'm
Hint,
looking
hint.
forward to my character succeeding at something eventually.
Don't worry. We're about to start the exploration. You were made for this.
This is your jam. Yeah.
This is your
Yeah.
time.
I do feel like we're leading up to some really good stuff.
All of you
Feel
guys
it.
brought your A game to character creations. Like, this is a really, really good group of characters. And
Can I just say though, this is difficult for me because I'm used to playing or trying to do like a jokey type character.
Yeah.
So like trying to be more
like
serious
a
is
heavier
tough.
kind of
It's really
yeah.
tough.
It is, you know. And I appreciate, like putting the effort into like stretch yourself like that, you know. Like I said, I'm really just like humbled to have all of you guys at the table, you know. Someone like Button who like really, takes on that role play. Like, it is not easy to play a character like Cress and to role play what Cress is going through. Like, that is tough shit.
Cried.
It is
Oh.
tough shit, and believe me, I very, very much appreciate the heartache that it takes. I appreciate that Nigel's playing a character that is out of his comfort zone. He's stretching himself as a role player. It's really, really cool to see.
She's such a mystery. Jinx?
Yeah.
How? Where? Oh no.
See, and-
I can.
yeah, I can't wait to talk about what I'm thinking, David, because I think the mechanic is it'll help out. I guess sometime tomorrow.
I think we can do
I'll
some.
message
Yeah,
you.
we can. I mean, I'll be around still tonight a bit, but I also told Ollie already. I'm just really honored that he's playing Lycus at our table. Like, the fact
Yeah,
that this is a character
Lycus!
he's been working on since high school. Like, fuck yeah, dude.
Like us in Sandsea.
And it really
And then-
seems like I'm so sorry. I
No,
keep
go.
interrupting.
No, please.
Oh.
It seems like Ollie has gone from like that initial like I want him to be machismo vampire man to like this like butterfly of a really complex and lovely character.
Mhm.
Like the name is the same,
Yeah.
but it's nothing like you described
Mhm.
from high school.
Yeah,
so
like
that's really
when
cool.
you initially kind of proposed this concept for Lycus, I was like, okay, so it's like a chaotic guy who likes to punch things. Cool, that'll be fine, that'll be good. But it's so much more than that already, and we're only 3 episodes in. It's like 4. There's a lot to it, and I
The
appreciate
best
that.
description is just controlled chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which
chaos with a
seems
purpose.
Weird,
yeah.
Oh yeah. If you see a shiny red button, there's a chance that he won't press it.
How about a blue one?
We were coming back from break in the last session, and Button had said it best. You know, just put something in front of him. Lycus is like, yeah, I'll take that.
Opportunistic.
Like, I grab it.
Saying a second ago, he'll always take the opportunity. Someone has to rein him in.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then
Is suggestion is a wisdom save?
I think most of those
They're
are wisdom
mostly
saves. Yeah.
wisdom
Damn.
saves. Yeah.
His whiz is gonna be good.
You gotta
Figure
get
something
Hex.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah,
Hex
gonna
him
get
first
Hex.
so that he has disadvantage.
I gotta do this is before he touches the button though. I have to do a bunch of
Yo,
shit.
Edinburgh already established. Just knock him out. It's an option.
Oh,
It is an option. No, we need to get the Inuyasha beads.
The Inuyasha
sit,
beads.
boy.
Oh, sweaty.
Nigel,
sorry.
get silvery barbs.
I got
That's a reaction.
it. Oh, right, true, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You're right.
real quick, for Hannah, I think Pim is definitely like a very organic, close to the heart, close to home kind of character too.
Mhm.
Like it is, we've got a really, really fun cast of characters. Everybody's got their thing.
Do you Pim voice?
So, Lycus is
Oh,
the
this
one
one?
with the. That's such a cute voice.
Go ahead, Granny. Don't let me interrupt. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was actually
wish.
just wanting to ask a question for our beloved DM. So that Lycus has my tippet on.
Mhm.
Do I know that by any chance?
We'll talk about it.
Okay, great. Looking forward to that chat.
We'll talk about it.
For
David, do you
reference,
have?
I was just gonna tell Granny that he's wearing it like a belt.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
JJ is just squirming.
Just remove the lineage thing. Just for like 3 days, you know? It's a
Dang
really
it.
cool item. It's really cool.
Lycus, this is not going to be a great way for Granny Mal to meet you. That's all
I cannot wait.
Oh no.
I cannot wait, guys.
Did Granny used to wear it like all the time?
No, Granny used to have it in her satchel all the time.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. You put it
She
in front
never
of Pen.
wore it.
Yeah.
She never wore it, yeah.
You're looking for you're I'm sorry. We were talking about theory crafting and we haven't done any yet. This is
Yes.
Right.
sword in the stone shit. You're looking for the person who should wear it.
It's just Chris's reactions that what was that? What was that? What did you just do? And Granny's like, nothing. What are you
Why don't you
talking
stick
about?
that in their face?
I was subtle. No, you weren't, Granny. You were not very subtle. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting for that lore to drop.
Dude, that moment is going to be huge.
David, what are your highs, lows, and
thank you.
looking forward to?
Highs, lows. Highs for me. I absolutely love these sessions where I kind of just sit back and let you guys do your thing. Like, it's fun for me to, like make maps, design encounters, all that shit, and kind of like test the boundaries of the game. But that's just like a mechanical kind of satisfaction, right? The world building and the story, being very much like this thing that you guys are kind of guiding with your characters and your interactions and your decisions. That's the sweet spot. Like I said it before last session, my job's easy now. I just react, right? You guys do your thing and I just go, okay, I react to that. I respond to that. We'll roll for that. That's all I really want to do. I just kind of want to sit back and watch you guys take it off from here. So for me, highs, these last couple of sessions have been absolutely perfect for that kind of stuff. Lows, pacing as well. If I'm going to say anything, it's pacing. But I also think, I was telling Hannah too before, right? We're still getting into these characters. We're still getting familiar with our character sheets, right? We are just starting off with how the interactions go. And also we're playing online. So that learning curve is just a little bit longer, a little bit slower, a little bit clumsier. And I do think when we start to really hit our stride, we're really gonna hit our stride. So I'm very, very excited. I guess that's kind of a looking forward to. Like my low really is also kind of my looking forward to. I don't really have a low. It kind of goes. I
the
know
low
where
is
it's
always
going.
a caveat, really.
Yeah, I kind of know. I just have a really good feeling about where this is going already. So it's the only criticism I have is something that I know is going to be resolved with time. Right? We just got to play. So yeah, that's that. All right. Should we call it here for tonight?
Sure.
Can I say one thing?
No.
I have a secret high, and that is the idea that you call me Lycus while you're at home.
Yes.
Like
we do.
It's true. About half the time.
If someone calls me Lycus to my face, I will have a little like in my heart. What's up?
Can I tell you a secret? I don't actually know your name aside from Lycus.
Yes.
Say anything.
Beautiful.
Don't say it.
I don't know your name. So
ultimate immersion.
It is just Lycus to me.
I'll take it.
That's great.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm
always
Lycus.
All right.
That's good.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's call it here for tonight. Go watch Angel's Egg. That's the moral of the story. And yeah, Sandsea next session is next week for us. I don't know when this comes out, but it'll.
I don't know why you're saying that here.
Yeah, I really don't know. What is time? What is time?
Time is a weird.
Silence for 3 seconds. So she 3 seconds.
Yes. 3, 2, 1.
We'll cut it out.
Yeah, keep it locked here. Delta Cryptid for Sandsea, Judging Nerd Culture, Tales from Terra, Ollie's awesome Elden Ring playthroughs, right? Catch it all here. We'll see you guys around.
Bye.
I just hit my glasses.
No.
Oh.